This is part 6 of chapter 2, and this is going to be the last part. And at the end of this chapter, I'm going to attach a few practice questions. Of course, you're going to get assignments later on, but for now, these are the practice questions for you. Try to attempt them properly in your fair copies, and let's carry on. So, until now, we have talked about the life in the city. We talked about the disparities between the rich and the poor, which was evident from the burial practices that was prevalent in Mesopotamia. We also talked about the nuclear family system, the inheritance rules, etc. So, in this part, we are going to move on to the next subtopic, which is the trading town in a pastoral zone. So we have seen that most productive area in Mesopotamia was considered to be the southern Mesopotamia, and this was agriculturally more productive than any other area in Mesopotamia. But despite this fact, the royal capital of Mesopotamia was developed in Mari, which is not in the southern plain and does not stand in the highly productive agricultural region of the southern part, but rather it is further upstream, that is on the Euphrates River. So even though it is not placed in an agriculturally productive area, yet this place cannot be considered to be completely infertile. It also had agriculture, but at the same time, the most important profession that was being carried out in this area was animal rearing. So both the farmers and pastoralists were existing side by side to each other, pastoralism being the main occupation being carried out by the people in the city of Mare. So there was a certain times when there had been some conflicts between the herders and the farmers. The reasons being that the herders had to exchange their young animal, whatever animal produced was um, uh, whatever animal produce they got, like cheese, leather, meat, etc., they had to exchange them, and in return they used to get grain, other metals, etc. And apart from that, there was a conflict because the shepherd may take his flock to water across a sown field, and these animals would you know feed on the agricultural fields, which will eventually lead to the destruction of the agricultural land. So the farmers would always discourage the herdsmen from taking their flock to agricultural fields, because it will destroy the crop that had been sown. For their part, settled groups may deny pastoralists access to the river and canal water. So the farmers would discourage these pastoralists from using any resources that belonged to their area, because obviously in Mari the agricultural land was less. Apart from that, the water resources were also not up to the mark. Therefore, the pastoralists were discouraged by the farmers from using them, and this eventually led to various conflicts in the area. So, through the Mesopotamian history, nomadic communities of the western desert filtered into the prosperous agricultural heartland. So, there was a migration of these these communities from the western desert area, which we have already done, that the western Arabian Peninsula part was majorly desert. So, they migrated to the agricultural area so that they can settle down in these areas and could earn their living by selling their agricultural produce. So such groups would come in as herders, they would come as harvest laborers or hired soldiers, and would finally settle down in these prosperous regions. So with the society eventually developing up in this area, it led to the start of the institution of kingship, and the people who used to establish their power, they would rule for a very very long time, which included the Akkadians, also the Amorites, the Assyrians also. So the kings of Maris were Amorites, and they were a little different from the original inhabitants in terms of what they used to wear, what gods they used to preach, etc. So they also raised a temple at Mari for Dagon, which is the god of steppe. Again, steppe area are the temperate grasslands. So Mesopotamian society and culture was open to people from different areas and cultures, and this led to the intermixing of the various cultures in the Mesopotamian lands. So the kings of Mari, however, had to be vigilant. They had to keep track of the people, of the new people who were coming in and settling in these areas, so that it did not lead to any kind of mishaps in future. So they had to keep track of all these people, and an officer writes to the king that there is an example of this one letter where an officer writes to the king that he has been seeing frequent fire signals at night. So he had suspected a raid or an attack because fire was most commonly used by the people to communicate with each other and to send signals. So this is how the kings had to be vigilant all the times in order for them to prevent their society from being destroyed by the new people that were coming in this prosperous land and trying to settle in. Next subtopic is the cities in Mesopotamian culture. So Mesopotamians valued city life. We have already seen that Mesopotamian civilization was an urban civilization where people from different communities would live side by side. Their cultures were different, but still there was intermixing and people would prosperously live with each other. But the cities were often destroyed in the wars, and the source of information for these wars are the various poems that have survived in the various clay tablets that we have already talked about. So we also get to know that even though this place was peaceful, but there is like there is no situation where there can be zero wars. So there were always conflicts, and the clay tablets have told us that. One of the examples of the best source of information for these wars is the Gilgamesh epic. So Gilgamesh was basically a ruler of Uruk who had come into power after some time of Enmerkar. So Gilgamesh was a great heroic leader, and he had lost his heroic best friend. So he was searching for a secret of immortality, and once he was just strolling around the city of Uruk, and he just lay his eyes on the beautiful architecture of Uruk, and he realized that even though the human beings or he himself is not going to survive, but the important part is the city in itself would survive because it was prosperous, and um, it was beautiful, and it will always remain alive in the memories of the people. So this is a epic of Gilgamesh. Next and the last subtopic of today is the legacy of writing. So, the need for writing, again, we have done that the writing was started in order to keep record of the various transactions. But with time, the writing legacy was transferred to many successions. And so, while moving narratives can be transmitted orally, but it is very difficult to transfer science or mathematics orally. So it is important to preserve these scientific facts, etc., and mathematical equations, etc. So it is important to write them down in proper text so that they can be transmitted from generation to generation. So the greatest legacy of Mesopotamia to the world is obviously the their advancements in the mathematics and science, which they have been able to transfer to various generations with the help of the text that had been written. So first important use was they had written the various table multiplication and division tables on the various tablets. They had also found out squares and square roots, so they had passed down the tables for that as well. So, other than that, there was a division of the year into 12 months, and how the moon revolved around the earth, the entire cycle, how the days were divided into hours, and each hour into minutes, etc. All these complex calculations, which are considered to be extremely advanced, even these people knew these facts, and they had easily written this down on the various tablets and passed it on generation after generation. Apart from this, they has also talked about the solar and lunar eclipses, how the occurrence of these phenomena takes place, and various constellations in night sky, etc. So all this information has been transferred by the Mesopotamians. So the Mesopotamians' achievements would have been possible, could not have been possible without writing. So it was important for them to have developed an important art which is of writing. So these small kids, etc., they were trained to keep records of administration, and so that the people can know what kind of structure of administration was present at the time of Mesopotamia. So this was the importance of the writing of various texts, etc. So I am giving you after this questions attached to it. Kindly solve them and try to attempt them in your fair copies, and hopefully you will write great answers. Thank you.